my dear viewer, welcome to yet another episode of Decent Conversations, where we are all about having lives at work. And I'm your girl, Tabby. Today, I want to talk about the hidden burden of teenage pregnancies. In the last couple of weeks, we've seen so much discussion going into teenage pregnancies. And yeah, for sure, having teenage pregnancies is not something that we should take lightly. Um, Maybe I should say this: teenage pregnancies is not a new thing. And when we start throwing out blame, saying is a fault of the parents, is a fault of who, is a fault of society, is a fault of the girls. When we start throwing out blame, it does not really solve the problem, because decade after decade we still have teenage pregnancies. I mean, we are in 2020 and we are still having the discussion on teenage pregnancies. I think this is something that should have been eradicated years ago. And some of the things, some of the reasons we are having teenage pregnancies at an alarming rate, I feel that it's because people are now opening up. We are having more girls going for clinics. We are having more girls not hiding. In previous years, girls will be excommunicated from their communities once they get pregnant at an early age. And we had less uptake of antenatal care. So it means right now more light is being shed on this issue, and it's a good thing, because once we see the problem and everyone is giving it focus, we can look at a solution. That being the case, I'm here to talk about the hidden burden. And the hidden burden is the burden that these teenage girls are left with. And we could say that these children, once, because they're still children, so once these children become parents, their lives will never be the same again. Even if they get education, their lives will still be interrupted. Look at it this way: the burden of raising a kid, even for somebody who is a grown-up, is not easy. And I don't mean it in a bad way when I call it a burden. I mean it in the point of concern, because raising a child takes a lot of emotions. It takes a lot of finances and resources, and it really needs a joint and combined effort. And most of these girls are going to raise these children by themselves. So imagine how much this is going to weigh down on them emotionally, and the fact that they're already being pointed fingers at, being told, yeah, you got children before you became adults. And yeah, I'm applauding the government, saying that they can go back to school. That is very nice. But tell me, are you going to give them psychosocial support when they go back to school? Are you going to create a conducive environment where these girls can be able to breastfeed their children up to 6 months exclusively? Are you giving them a point where they can be able to bond with their children in this age? Because if the mother is not able to bond with their children, we are also creating another problem with these children who will miss out on bonding with their parents. Are we going to create a space whereby these children will have their needs taken care of? When I say their needs, their food, their diapers, their clothes, their shelter, is it going to be taken care of? And who is going to take that burden? Because at the end of the day, yes, these girls may go back to school, but who is going to take care of their children? Are we thinking of who is going to take care of their children? Don't just say that these children will be left with their parents. Imagine a scenario that poverty is a driving factor for these girls to engage in early sex. So when they leave their children back at home, do you think their parents will be capable of taking care of these children? So as we talk about the burden of teenage pregnancies, let's look at it holistically. Let's not just think quickly and say, yeah, these girls will go back to school. I 100% support girls going back to school. I 100% support reintegration. But my worry is, as they reintegrate, what happens to their children? How are we going best to support their children? So my appeal today is, as we think of how these girls will go back to school, let's think of first holding the people who made them pregnant accountable. whether they are teenagers as themselves or whether they are grown-ups, it's time for them to be held accountable, because the burden of teenage pregnancies has been left to the girls for a long time. So how about let's involve the boy, even if this boy is also in school. Let's look at mechanisms that can work to have the two of them take care of this child. Whatever mechanism is there, it takes two to tango. So we cannot leave it at, yeah, this boy is still a teenager, they cannot take care of the girl, so they cannot take care of the child. The girl is also a teenager, so let's secure the future of our girls and our young boys. Yes, the causes of teenage pregnancies are diverse. I cannot exhaust them, but what can we do to end this? What can we do to support this child and their child? What can we do to ensure that we don't have a repeat of these cases? Because year in, year out, this is happening, but we still make noise, and after some times we keep quiet. But the funny thing is, when the numbers get to the peak, that's when we make noise again. But it doesn't stop that. If a girl got pregnant at 13, their life has changed. Whether they go back to school or not, their life has been interrupted. They have taken on a responsibility. So let's not only support them in the journey of pregnancy. Those ones who have already gotten pregnant, let's work with them, and ensure that they ensure that they feel safe, because so much is happening. There are so many cases of depression, there are so many cases of suicide. We've seen parents abandoning their children. So if these children are not in the right psychological state, they will not be effective whether we take them back to school or not. So let's take them back to school for starters. Let's create an enabling environment for them to flourish, and let's help them raise these children, because at the end of the day, these are children raising children. So let's support these children, raise their children, and also end the cycle by holding those who have made them pregnant accountable. That's the only way. And also one other thing, let's educate them, because we might create a debate around this, but at the end of the day, these teenagers need to be educated on matters of sexuality. If they're not educated, they will still find a way to get the information. Yeah, that has been our conversation on the hidden burden. I know I cannot exhaust on this conversation. Let's engage. Give us your opinion, give us your comments, and let's see how we can end teenage pregnancies. Yeah, thank you for watching. Please make sure you subscribe if you haven't, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye-bye.